All right, so I want to thank you again, Miss Barbara Hayes, who's also my mother, for doing this interview. I think it's so important for us to have your perspective as a parent who's been in education with your children for at least over 20 some years at this point. And so I think it's really important to get those stories and experiences that you had in the educational system. So I thank you for taking time out today. All right, so I need you to be as candid and honest as possible with these questions, because again, this is trying to help our incoming core really understand what it means to build relationships with their parents and also from the student lens as well. And that can be good stories, that can be stories that are not so good, because we can learn from all of it. So the first question is, what stands out as a unique experience you had in terms of building a relationship with either Jamaica's teachers or my teachers?
Okay, I'm going to talk about Miss Cooper, who was a mentor and teacher for Jamaica that I required based on her attendance with the Claflin University program. The program required that the students, when they returned back from the 6 weeks college prep camp, have a mentor. And I had a really hard time finding a mentor for Jamaica, because each of the teachers would say that they're either too busy or didn't have the time or whatever, but it was a requirement for the program. When Ms. Cooper found out that I had asked several people about mentoring Jamaica and no one had stepped up, she did so excitedly, and she made a point of spending extra time with Jamaica, making sure that Jamaica was a part of her TA group and helping her check papers and just building the opportunity for them to complete the requirements of the program.
And in comparison to relationship with maybe not so good teachers, what can you say made the most impact for that good relationship with that teacher, or any other good experience you had with other teachers?
I think what made the most difference was the fact that when she saw how serious I was about Jamaica's education, she became even more passionate than I was, if that was even possible, about making sure that Jamaica had what she needed and that she was doing the extra mile to try to find opportunities for Jamaica and make sure that Jamaica felt as if she was getting a well-rounded experience through this program.
And can you give some other examples of ways that teachers in the past have made you feel valued as a parent and made you feel involved in part of their planning process or part of the learning process?
I think it helps when the teachers are listening to the parents and not just talking at the parents. I've had experiences both where a teacher would listen to what I was trying to say, and then I've had some where they would not listen and be very dismissive, because it was as if they thought they knew what was better for my child than I knew what was for my child.
And what were some of the ways that y'all started to build their relationship to be able to have communication? How did y'all communicate? How was that even formed?
If I thought somebody was not listening to me, I'm going to go to the next level, which is usually the principal, and I'm going to tell him or her what it is that I want, and I expect them to listen. And typically that's been the case, because by then they can look at me and see I'm no longer playing about whatever it is I think my child needs.
In terms of good relationships with teachers, how did they communicate with you?
I think good relationships are communicated by a teacher who calls me back or emails me back if I ask for something. And I found that because I'm such a determined person about whatever relates to my daughter's education, until they start to know, okay, I need to call Ms. Hayes back because she's not playing with us.
Mm-hmm. And what about negative news? How did, in the past, I mean, typically Jamaica and I were pretty good children, but in terms of if there was something negative, maybe a grade, or maybe sometimes I was talking too much in class, how did the teacher deliver the message to you, and was that the best way you think to deliver negative news to a parent?
The expectations of my children are that they tell me for anybody else. So, like you said, I didn't have those bad situations where there were problems in the classroom or behavior situations or whatever. But if something did occur, Jamaica would make sure they told me first.
And then if the parent, so then when the teacher calls, then what is the expectation for the teacher to do?
The teacher wouldn't call me. I go directly to the school. I'm there waiting on her or him.
That's so true, Mama. Sorry, that's very true. What made you feel sure that a teacher had our best interests at heart? How did you know that?
I think teachers start to care about students when they see that they're getting some support. Unfortunately, a lot of teachers do not get the support they need from the homes. the homes have to do a better job of sending a prepared child to the school. And if the child needs assistance, it's up to the parent to reach out and use whatever resources are available for those children to get what they need. And that's not always happening. That makes the teacher's job a little harder. And I think that teachers are going to have to communicate, and the principals, the teachers, and the parents are going to have to partner if they want to see a better future for the children. It's not just the teacher's job. It is a whole job of the community to ensure that each child gets all that he or she needs.
And in terms of interactions with teachers, do you think it's positive for teachers to come to like our after school events or come to church or things of that nature? Like, how do you feel about that when a teacher does that? What do you think about them?
I think it's up to the teacher, because in some cases teachers have so much on them that it's not always possible for them to go to extra things with the students or whatever. But for those who can, I think they should. It takes a village to raise a child.
That is one of the statements you make all the time. And can you give any other examples of how that village was formed? Because I feel like growing up, Jamaica and I always had a village of people outside of our immediate family. And part of that was because of the hard work that you did to form those relationships. So what were the things that occurred to build that village, to build those relationships that now we look at them as extended family, but most of the people aren't even our family biologically?
I think it starts at home again. It's the expectation of the parent to teach the child and to let that child know that when they're around another adult and the presence of another adult, they need to be respectful. It's not that a child needs to be seen and not heard, but it's the way a child carries him or herself. And also, when a parent sees that somebody's trying to be a part of the village, and they're really being helpful, or they're really trying to help that child see something that the parent may not have the time to do or maybe too busy to do, that the parent and the other person communicate and let each other know, I see what you're doing, I see how you're trying to help me, and I appreciate it, and this is what we can do, how the child can be seen with you at a time, and you have your opportunity to teach and mentor, and how you can help me based on things you see that I need to do. So again, it just takes everybody working together.
So what about any negative experiences, interactions with teachers? How did that impact you, and how do you think that ultimately impacted us as students, as your children?
I don't think I had a whole lot of negative impacts. The one or two times that I have had to go to the school, I think I'm always surprised how some other adults may feel like once a child gets to a certain grade, the parents shouldn't be at the school, the parents should allow the child to work out the problem. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think any child in my house, 18 or younger, has to do what I say do. And I make the rules up. And once I make the rules up, it's up to me and whoever my partners in education are to understand the expectation for my children and what their needs are and what my needs are. And if any of us, in terms of my children, are not living up to expectations, then they should feel free to communicate to me that they feel I'm not doing something that I should be doing, and how I can do things better and maybe provide some resources. But I think that because children don't come with a handbook, we all have to really and truly be open to listening to the other people who are part of our village.
And just to close out, because I know you got another meeting to get to, but what's a couple pieces of advice, or even just one major piece of advice to give to these incoming teachers about building relationships with families?
I think the most important thing is to not go in assuming that you know what's going on, because I think in the school system there are so many other things that's going on that's not related to education. I think that in many cases teachers are going to be burdened with things that they probably shouldn't have to, and you have to be mindful as a new teacher to tap into and find out what resources are available, what programs and opportunities are partnering with your school that you may be able to expose a child to, and to just really and truly be what you say you're going to be to that child. If you tell that child, I'm going to be here to help you with your math, or I'm going to make sure that at this time we can sit down and just talk about, your college plans or whatever. Do what you say you're going to do, because in a lot of cases the children are let down so often until the quickest way to build a relationship is by doing what you say and meaning whatever it is you say you're going to do.
I think that was excellent, Mommy. Thank you again for taking time out on your day to do this, and I look forward to talking to you soon.